It's your daily dose of Diddy. Cassie confirms sex slave Jonathan Oddi's wild claims. For reference, a couple years ago, this man went viral for claiming that he was a concubine of Puff Daddy and that he was forced to have sex with Cassie. Turns out, this man would later go on to shoot inside the Trump Hotel, and he got arrested, and now he's testifying. And turns out, brother was telling the truth? This is a schizo rabbit hole and an interesting development in the case. Let's listen.
I had sex with Cassie and Sean. Basically, he would tell me what to do with Cassie.
Jonathan Oddi, a name that has circulated on social media, the adult performer who went viral for the wild comments he made about Sean Combs and Cassie years ago. But now, all these years later, he has officially been called out at Combs' federal criminal trial in a big way. Portions of testimony have been dedicated to him. Let's talk about it. Welcome to Sidebar, presented by Law and Crime.
Pretty sure he got paid a couple million under an NDA as well, but NDAs, if illegal activity happened, don't necessarily protect you. I'm just saying he might have cashed out.
I'm Jesse Weber.
I had like 15 encounters and I heard lots of business, because what they would do is Sean talks a lot on the phone and on the TV with people and stuff, and I was like a sex slave, okay, for them.
7 years ago, when Jonathan Oddi told that to authorities, no one really took notice, right? It was just the ramblings of a crazy person. But now, in 2025, when Sean Diddy Combs is on trial for federal sex crimes and his ex-girlfriend, Cassandra Ventura Fine, victim one in this case, testifies against him, claiming she was coerced into prolonged and elaborate sexual performances with male sex workers, yeah, we look at this.
P. Diddy's got the forehead of a sniper's dream. Holy shit.
A lot different. And in fact, we are looking at what Jonathan Oddi...
This is Vivek Ramaswamy's brother, by the way.
...he said, and himself, a lot differently, considering he officially came up in testimony during this trial. Cassie talked about him quite a bit. By the way, I say Jonathan Oddi. I've heard other people say Jonathan Oddi. Haven't been able to get official confirmation on how to pronounce his last name, but I'm going to go with Jonathan Oddi. Anyway, it has been quite a wild journey.
It's actually Jonathan O.D.
Okay, and you have to say, with her testimony, does it validate everything that he said? Maybe.
Do you know Sean Combs?
Puff Daddy?
Yeah.
P. Diddy, whatever you call himself. Yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, he's part
He broke into Kid Cudi's house and unwrapped all his Christmas presents. Diddy is the literal Grinch. That's right. He stole Christmas.
What's called the Boule. The Boule is a branch of the Illuminati.
Okay.
And it's the black people. Okay.
Okay, maybe not everything.
I still believe him. Not one lie has been spoken.
I don't know. But he did say at the time that he was paid to have sex with Cassie in front of Combs. And what is being said now in court? Well, before we even get into that, let me explain who Jonathan Oddi is. So Oddi is this former stripper.
Dude, I've been saying this. This is a crazy mugshot.
Who was taken into custody in May of 2018 after he allegedly fired a gun inside of the Trump National Doral Miami Hotel and Resort in the middle of the night. The Florida State Attorney's Office says that Oddi fired shots in the lobby toward the chandelier.
Bro got shot in the leg. I don't know how he's alive, to be honest. I feel like if you start popping off shots in a former and current president's hotel, you're just asking to die.
Lear then draped a giant American flag across the front desk.
Based.
He also apparently got into a shootout with police officers. Now, according to the Miami-Dade court, Oddi faces 10 charges, multiple counts of attempted murder, aggravated assault, burglary. There really is no real update on his case. It's kind of been...
Dude, he should be freed. He got diddled, bro. Let him out.
Stagnant. He's still locked up. But I'll tell you what, when he sat down for a long interview with law enforcement after his arrest, during that interview,
I would pardon him.
He brought up, unprompted, that he was Sean Combs' sex slave. Okay? It was a pretty wild allegation at the time, and again, nobody really took notice because this was...
Yo, he's so zesty. How did people not see the writing on the wall? I mean, I feel like we did. It's giving flamboyant.
Years before Combs would ultimately be accused of all this, that he would be accused in multiple lawsuits of wrongdoing, before he would end up being charged with federal sex trafficking and racketeering and prostitution charges, allegations being that he formed a criminal enterprise using his businesses to abuse women, including forcing them into coerced sexual performances, including with sex workers. Freak-offs, baby oil, drugs.
I hate, dude, the physiognomy is insane.
Voyeurism, okay? I'll tell you what, we have been on top of this Jonathan Oddi story and its connection to Diddy for a while now here on Sidebar, and the reason that we can do that for you here is because we get amazing support from our sponsors like Upside. Now, Upside's
Speedrun.
the testimony of others, like another male performer named Daniel Phillip, her former friend Kerry Morgan, Dawn Richard from Dandy Kane, all corroborating testimony. And all of them, all corroborating testimony because they all testified to Combs assaulting Cassie. And the prosecution asserts that Combs used threats, violence, manipulation to induce and coerce Cassie into
It doesn't look great for the diddler, that's right.
commercial sex acts with male strippers, performers, escorts, that this was done without her real consent. And during the course of her testimony, Jonathan Oddi seemingly comes
Dude, I hope this guy is like the star witness and he brings down the diddler's Gotham empire.
up. Okay, this is a big deal. So I'm going to read you portions of the transcript where he comes up
They love bald sex slaves.
or seemingly comes up. For example, there's this exchange. Miss Ventura, who do you know the individual depicted in Government Exhibit 2A624 to be? Answer, Jonathan. Question, how do you know Jonathan? We saw him...
That's just Jonathan. It's so weird, just referring to him by his actual name after you dehumanized him and turned him into a meat puppet for a hedonistic ritual.
several times. Who is we?
Oh, that's the Punisher.
Sean and I. In what cities did you, or cities did you see Jonathan? In Miami, mostly. I don't know if he flew anywhere. Jonathan Oddi, Florida, makes sense. But then there was another part where he came up, and this is big. So the idea being, and give you a little bit of backstory here, the idea being that Combs had allegedly recorded sexual episodes, freak-offs, okay, without Cassie knowing. And the prosecution said that he did this as a way to blackmail.
Do you think Diddy imagined himself as Cassie? I feel like he kind of wanted to be her. Yo, that's autogynephilia. That is, and that's a level 100 gooner tech. Nobody talks about this besides Philion TV over on Twitch. You're not getting this level insight anywhere else on the internet. It's Third Eye Global. That's why we stay on top. Check this out. Autogynephilia, proposed by Ray Blanchard, refers to the sexual arousal experienced by a natal male assigned at birth due to the thought or fantasy of being a woman. It's often associated with transsexualism. Yo, is Diddy transgender confirmed? Is he a transformer dude? Is he a Decepticon? But not all males who experience gender dysphoria are autogynephilic. Damn.
And intimidate her into
Kind of sus that you know that? Yeah, excuse me for just being smarter than you. First-time chatter, literal peasant thinks he could talk to the king. You know, go sit in the cuck chair.
doing what he wanted. But listen to this exchange about a different type of recording, something that came up on
You know
cross-examination
what? Go watch Hassan, okay?
by Combs' defense counsel. So
I exile you from the stream.
this is the question to Cassandra Ventura. Fine. Did you know whether or not Mr. Combs expressed concern about these videos also being released? Answer, when? Question, have you ever witnessed Mr. Combs express concern about
That's a fate worse than death. Take me out.
these videos being released? Yes. And Mr. Combs always supported you in not wanting these videos to come out and prevented these videos from coming out? I would say for the most part. There was an escort that you met named Mr. Jonathan Oddi a few times, right? Yeah. Do you know who I'm referring to? Yep. At some point you understood that he'd taken a video, a secret video of you and Mr. Combs and he at a freak-off, right? I thought he did, yeah. When you found out about that, you spent some amount of time, several months, trying to make sure that it went away, right? I did not. Mr. Combs did? Yeah. You understood that Mr. Combs spent a great deal of time and money to make sure that that video went away, right? I didn't know any of the details. Were you aware that he spent a significant amount of money to make sure the video did not get released? No. When you learned that Mr. Oddi had taken a secret recording of you that ended your relationship with him, right? I believe so. You never would have had a freak off with him ever again, right?
Yo, the language, the verbiage, freak off, it like infantilizes it. It takes the oomph out of like what they were doing. You never would have had a freak off with him ever again, right? Like, ugh.
No, I'm not going to play anything, but you also had a conversation with Mr. Oddi that was transcribed, right? Or recorded? Recorded. I don't remember, but it sounds familiar. And you were very concerned about the situation with Mr. Oddi, right? Yeah. He seemed like a volatile personality, right? I don't know about volatile, I just didn't trust it. He was threatening to release a sex video of you, right? I don't know that he actually did that. I'm sorry. You don't know if he threatened to release the video? I don't remember. You just remember learning that he did have a video. I was in the room with him and I saw the phone up, and so I told Sean about it right after. But you were concerned that he was recording at the time, right? Yes. And when you raised that concern with Mr. Combs, he did all that he could to get rid of Mr. Oddi, right? And then there's an objection from Emily.
This whole situation is cooked, and I think I'm experiencing fatigue based on a skill issue. Like, I understand there was coercion and blackmail. It just seems that, like, I wish Cassie had a bit more of an edge to her. She doesn't do the best job of defending herself. That's all I'm saying.
Johnson, one of the prosecutors, the judge says that's sustained. Going back to the questioning. What happened when you told Mr. Combs about your suspicion that Oddi was recording you? He said, I'll take care of it. That's the most I remember. To your knowledge, Mr. Combs was also...
Well, she was abused for years and has to testify 9 months preg. Yeah, it's a rough situation. It's not good optics. Listen, I know, maybe...
concerned about recordings of him getting out, right? Yup. Mr. Combs is a celebrity, as we've
Why did they have to defile Cassie, bro? Why, Mr. Diddy? Why?
already established, right? Yes. And these would have been embarrassing to him and they had been released, right? Yes. Just as they would have been embarrassing to you had they been released. I guess it depends on what content, yeah. Had a sex video of you been released, it would have been embarrassing, right? For sure. That's why you were so upset in that audio recording we just heard, right? So putting aside the idea that Oddi allegedly had a recording of both Combs and Ventura, and we're going to get to that in a minute because he too has apparently spoken out recently about this, but the reason from a legal point of view that this is all so important is because the defense is trying to establish that Combs was trying to protect Cassie, that he would never release a sex tape of her or the two of them, that they're trying to cast doubt on the idea that he would ever blackmail.
You know what it is? It's too gooner-pilled. Like, I just don't relate. I can't fucking compete. It's hard for me to pay attention and sympathize with how much of a gooner-coded situation this is.
Cassie, with releasing
Diddy is the goon father.
sex tape footage, that he wouldn't do that to embarrass her or himself, and also seeming to suggest you ended this whole relationship with Jonathan Oddi because you thought he had a recording of you. Wouldn't you have done the same? If Combs had a recording of you and was threatening to blackmail you, you wouldn't have put up with that. You wouldn't have stayed with him. I think that's a portion of where they might be going. But putting that to the side, at one point when she was on the stand, when Cassie was on the stand...
Dude, thank God we have this artist putting in the work. Otherwise, I wouldn't even know what to think.
He was questioned about an audio recording where she allegedly...
I don't know if it's because we all know that he has an evil look. You're saying physiognomy doesn't lie, huh? Philion speaks of this.
Rates a DJ who may have had one of these freak-off tapes. And look, this was a different side of Cassandra Ventura Fine than what we were seeing on the stand. Because she allegedly says to him on this tape, if you have it, pull it up or I will kill you, and he will kill you again. The he seems to be in reference to Sean Combs. She also allegedly said on the recording, if you don't show me, I will cut you.
Like, I don't get it. If I do something bad, I go straight to jail, no court, nothing. I would rot in here and nobody would notice. Sucks to suck, little bro. Nobody cares about you. You don't got clout like that.
Cut you up. Now, when questioned by the prosecution, she said, quote, I was just sick about it and was feeling pressure from Sean, so I was going in on Sugin, this is the DJ. It was weird. It was a weird day. What do you mean you were feeling pressure from Sean? She's asked. Answer, he was sending me messages because I shared it with him, obviously, right away because we didn't know whether or not it was a freak-off video. And yeah, he just texted me quite a bit and called me quite a bit about it, so I felt like I had to handle the situation. Who, if anyone, was directing you? Sean. Again, this is so incredible because listen to what Jonathan Oddi said back in the day about all this.
I caught herpes, and I came back and I sued him for the herpes and won. But they did.
You could sue for an STD? Yeah, I guess you can. If you don't disclose it. That's a crazy gooner tech.
Mark Garagos and Ben Mercedes were his attorneys, okay? They asked me to turn in that, which was the video recording, and I did so. They gave it back to me accidentally, and it's possible
Man, all these people are just so goddamn lost in life. No morals, no values, nothing inside. Well, this is why Christian values are important, because if you have nothing to stand for, then there's nothing left. No dragons to slay. Just pitiful pornography and hedonism, gooner behavior.
I threw everything out as possible. I can produce a copy.
Now, Jonathan Oddi recently spoke with News Nation. And what did he say to News Nation? Well, he told News Nation, quote, that he felt bad because I got along with her, meaning Cassie, and I think she's a decent person. And I had a suspicion that she was in a situation that she was in, but I wasn't sure. And now I understand what was going on in her life and what was happening. And him beating her up in the hotel shows me the type of individual he is, and that everything that happened to me is true and correct and in line with his personality. And he described how he would have to wear a costume during these sexual episodes, how he would strip down, how he was paid to do, quote, extra stuff, all while Combs...
What does that mean? Explain!
...watched and allegedly pleasured himself, claimed that he had 15 sessions with Ventura Fine and Combs.
Oh my god, dude. Being a gooner really skews all these statements, right? Because we just take it at face value. Think about that! 15 sessions! One wasn't enough, you fucking freak? Holy shit!
And was paid $800 each time, sometimes multiple times in one day. And when describing how drugs were used during these encounters, he talks about how he was concerned that someone might overdose. And he apparently decided that he was going to take action.
Diddy is cuck-pilled.
And he was going to take action when Cassie was passed out. Oddi said, quote, so after she passed out, I decided to record that in the event anything was to happen. Like if she died or anybody died, it would be on camera, on video, what happened. I wasn't responsible for any of that. I put it on the table and filmed the entire session. I had it transcribed. They had been threatening me, but he, meaning Diddy, would tell her what to say. And Oddi explained he no longer was hired to perform for Cassie and Combs, calling them paranoid, saying, quote, I wanted to guarantee...
Dude, like, I want to believe that everyone is true and real. But now, like, this picture just like, imagine you're at a sporting event. Is everyone into some freaky ass shit, bro? I feel like they have to be. Is this an anomaly? Or is this freak inflation because of Diddy? I can't look at a single celebrity without being like, yo, you're a fucking weirdo, dude.
He no longer was hired to perform for Cassie and Combs, calling them paranoid, saying, quote, I wanted to guarantee my safety. So I said, I text them, I said, if anything happens to me, I have evidence of being with you. Again, pretty incredible that we went from this.
The hip-hop agenda is an agenda to move drugs law in the United States. You need to involve the DEA. They move all the dope. Okay, all the dope on private jets, which don't get screened by
customs,
by DEA, inside the United States. Okay, they move what's called high-grade powder MDMA. They move cocaine and they move liquid cocaine in the bottles too. Okay, so they put the liquid cocaine in the bottles and they move it. I've seen the liquid cocaine. I've drank it myself. Having sex with Diddy and Cassie. Okay, it's not good. He drinks all the time.
To now, he's officially a part of the Sean Combs trial. Unbelievable. And when you think about, does this validate some of what he said, this is not the first time that we have had a conversation.
This mugshot tells a story. Half of his face is completely locked in, and the other half has seen horrors the world cannot comprehend. The mouth slightly agape. I mean, I believe him, dude.
Conversation about whether Oddi's claims are in fact true. You might recall that Oddi said this too in his interview with authorities back in the day.
I've had a great life. I've settled $4.125 million with Diddy. Okay, was he scared that I was gonna expose him?
I told you, cashed out.
I want to talk about Diddy right now. I want to talk about you. Help me understand you.
And the interesting thing
It's
about
kind of sad because if he has any like PTSD, he's like trying to get it out in like this cathartic kind of interview. But since he's just being perceived as so schizo because he shot up a hotel because he probably can't cope with anything because everyone probably thinks that he's a fucking weirdo. Like, imagine you're telling your truth and they're just like, nah, we're not going to talk about that right now.
that, according to recent reporting from the Daily Mail and the New York Post, Jonathan Oddi may have signed an NDA, a non-disclosure agreement with Sean Combs, signing this in exchange for $5 million. And apparently, there is a picture of the NDA signed in 2014 that has surfaced. This is according to the report. You see a signature on it. It's over Sean Combs individually and on behalf of Bad Boy Worldwide, Sean John Enterprises. Is that Sean Combs' signature or not? Possibly. And Oddi went on to apparently tell authorities, quote, "My settlement put me in a box. Basically, I couldn't talk because I was going to be sued. They kept following me." This is what he reportedly said.
That's got to be creepy as fuck too. Because if you don't have truth, then what do you have? Don't be so sure, bucko.
And you know one of the other reasons that this settlement may be the real deal, that he's telling the truth? Because he had been married at one point to this woman named Tanya Troutwine. And the Daily Mail reports that while he claimed in divorce paperwork that he had filed that he was making just $2,000 a month and was in the red when it came to his net worth, less than a month later, he apparently goes on a shopping spree, buys 5 properties for over $765,000, possibly in all cash deals, which again would possibly be consistent.
I mean, so based. Just becomes a real estate mogul.
With coming into some money, possibly through signing an NDA. And by the way, don't take it just from me. We actually interviewed Tanya Troutwine ourselves, Jonathan Oddi's ex-wife.
I didn't even know about the agreement till he randomly contacted me one night.
Listen, I don't mean anything by this, but like, how do you go from being married to then being a concubine for Diddy and Cassie?
And it was a few weeks before the shooting. And it was just rambling. And I signed this deal for all this money. And he started just throwing lawyer names left and right. Half I've never heard of. I think Gloria Allred was one of the names I'd heard because I admire her. She was one of my inspirations to actually become a lawyer. You know, I studied her throughout my entire
Am I trying to apply? No, I just don't know how these worlds collide.
life. In her case,
I don't know where all my husband's money came from, Your Honor.
they were very high profile. And he mentioned her and he mentioned a lot of other lawyers' names. And I was just like, wow.
Hey, she has a nice house. Wow.
Okay, maybe, I was looking at it positively, that something good, but he was not himself. He was frantic.
Isn't that CGI? No, this is real.
He's, here you have to
That's not a green screen.
take this look. Here's his agreement. And he gave me a lawyer's number to contact that said
Oh, guys, it's real. Trust.
he had the full agreement. I contacted that lawyer. He gave me the runaround, of course. He did meet with me. He was very kind.
I mean, this is prime real estate downtown Miami. I mean, this is probably a lawyer or something.
He was very friendly with Johnny, but he refused to go into anything to do. And he actually, I try to work with him to co-counsel, to defend Johnny, and he kind of blocked it. So at that point, I kind of fear, well, he's a little more favorable to the guys paying for the contract than he is Johnny. And I let it go from there.
It was actually an incredible interview. It's up on a prior sidebar that we did earlier in the month. You can check it out. But just to give you a sample, take a look at this.
He still deserves for people to know why he lost it, what went wrong. I do believe it was as a result of a relationship with P. Diddy that's evidenced, by his contract that he signed when he did provide.
Like, imagine you marry a man, next thing you know, he's the bull for Puff Daddy. He's cucking one of the most infamous hip-hop artists in the world. What is that?
Me a copy of that contract and did give me permission to show it to the public 7 years again and recently in conversations. He did give it to me almost in fear of his life. Like, Tanya, I've talked to everyone. You're the last person I can talk to. Here, take this. That was kind of the way I caught everything. And
You just become the Hollywood cuck maker? Like, what? What is that evolution?
it's like, who, what, and I was familiar with P. Diddy, when everyone was back in the 90s. I haven't, he's become this mogul and kind of behind the scenes. And I hadn't really heard his name again
How is this woman's brain not shattered into a million pieces? How is this not world-bending information?
until
She is way too casual and chill about this.
Johnny brought it up. But yeah, Johnny was an entertainer. He is a local celebrity. Like, you can go around Miami and ask people who he is, and they will know him. I wouldn't doubt it if some of the officers that day did know him, and that's why he's still walking, because he could have lost his life that day for sure.
So, will we hear more about Jonathan Oddi as this
Who the fuck is this guy, bro? He's just goated like that? What do you mean everybody knows who this is?
trial continues? Let's wait to find out.
I gotta watch a funk edit or something, bring me back to baseline. Maybe even David Goggins telling me to carry the boats. This might call for that.